Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Carroll's Corner MMA podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Carroll, joined by Alex Marro, who will be fighting in a light heavyweight title fight against Casey Norman on February 9th. What's that?
Corey Norman.
Corey Norman. Oh, what did I say? Casey? Yeah. Long day already. But Corey Norman, he'll be fighting who's 2-0. You're 3-2. You'll be fighting at Cage Wars 40, which is a stacked card already.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your title fight, Alex.
So my original plan wasn't to fight throughout the school year, but, I don't have anything personal against the guy, but he beat a good friend of mine, Nick Spencer, and I basically walked up to Tim Rankins, the guy that runs Cage Wars. I said, make the fight happen, because I just wanted blood at that point in time. So that's all I went for. So I'm fighting for the 205-pound title for Cage Wars. It'll be great because I'll be a 2-division champion. I won the heavyweight title. You commentated that fight.
Indeed, I did. Yes.
And so I'm excited. It's the first time I'm taking it seriously. Really, I had never really trained all that much for anything else. Whether it be wrestling, I was in the wrestling season, or I was boxing or doing jiu-jitsu. Now it's all tied together. So I'm excited to give this a shot. And
he's definitely going to be probably your toughest opponent thus far. He's a big guy, big, strong guy. He's got some skills.
Yeah, I'd say Yuri Panvarov will always be the toughest guy I fought, just because, Tim Kronk too. I just think wrestling-wise, how can I word it? I think he's going to be strong. I think he's going to be tough. I just think he'll be surprised when he ties up with me, because that's, primarily what I do is Greco stuff, and now I'm finally starting to incorporate it to my MMA stuff. So.
And how's that going? How's wrestling going? I see you're wrestling for Oneonta.
Yeah.
How do you like that? What's the difference since you've started doing MMA? Now that you're wrestling in college and doing MMA, what's the difference since you started?
So, I gotta tell the story how I got into it. I was okay in high school. I wasn't great. Farthest I ever went was 5th in sectionals. But I gained about 60 pounds when I went to community college. I went from 200 flat to 260 about. So I went to Oneonta to visit when I got accepted, and I said, hey, I was just wondering, could I work out, maybe take lessons from the team? And he recruited me somehow, because I got a letter in the mail saying, you are now an Oneonta wrestler. I'm like, what? How did that happen? So I'm like, all right, so I got to be good, because I got like a bunch of nationally ranked guys that are my captains, and a bunch of other guys that are in the top 15, 20. So it's different. Last year, I just focused on being a better mat wrestler. I didn't really translate it to MMA all that well. So that's what I'm doing now. Actually, what I've been doing this year is I actually wrestle in a fighting stance, just so people can't, get after my legs. No one's really – I've been pinned once, but that was kind of on purpose, because I choked the guy because he pissed me off, but that's about it. But when it comes to college wrestling, it's just a lot different. It's a lot more physical. You're basically punching each other every time you tie up and club with people. Mm-hmm. You're grinding your head against them. It's not like high school where it's like if you hit someone a bit too hard, you get called out for it.
Yeah.
So it's great, because this year I'm finally being a prick to most people I fight. I wrestle. I'm being a jerk.
Awesome. Oh, how's training going aside from college wrestling? Their training's top notch. There's no doubt about that. So. But how do you balance that school MMA training? That's a lot going on for you right there.
It's tough. That was the thing last year. When I fought Tim Kronk, I would go back about once a week and train boxing. And most of it was wrestling. I figured I'm in wrestling shape. And I'll put it this way: like, I never really focused on all the fights the way that a lot of my opponents have, just because I had so much going on. It's not that I'm not motivated. It's not that they didn't beat me fair and square. They did, but when you got a bunch of papers to do, and I go to school for music industry with a focus on law, so I got to draft a lot of contracts. I got to draft, I have to make like deal memos in a bunch of deals and stuff and submit them. And that just takes hours and hours. And then I got to practice. The easiest way I balance it is I always make it a priority to stay in shape now, because I remember going up the stairs and I was about 265, almost 270, and it was just a hard time for me, and I hated that. So I at least do 3 days a week with Oniana Jiu-Jitsu. I always do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then when I wrestle, it's we're doing 2 a days now because we're technically not in season.
Mm-hmm.
So we do 9:30 to 11:30, and then 3 to 5. And then I'll go back every Tuesday, Thursday with my MMA team and my boxing club. So I'm balancing it as best I can. And when school comes up, then I'll make it work. I just do that. Over the summer, I'd like to take a fight and have like a real official camp, I guess. So.
No, that makes sense. The priorities. You're in school. School's priority. You want to get that finished. You're paying a lot of money for that. Totally understandable. I get that. But let's hear what are some of your goals though within MMA. Obviously, school comes first. You want to graduate, and then MMA wise, where do you want to go from there? How long do you want to be an amateur? Are you looking to go pro in the future? If so, what's the timetable for that?
That's a question I've been asked a lot. After my last fight with Yuri Panvarov, I mean, even his coach, Andrew Calandrelli, who's a monster, comes up to me and says, I hope to see you in the pros. I'm like, whoa. Pros, I don't know. I almost went pro with boxing after high school. That was my first sport. I went 17-1 in amateurs, and I was a junior Olympic alternate, and I did a bunch of matches, and I really believe that no one in amateur MMA has better boxing than I do, and that's a bold statement, but, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I've just been doing it for so long. Cody Zapone actually was a better boxer than I was. You remember him?
Oh, yeah. He's got some phenomenal
monster,
hands.
man. I think he did the Junior Olympics, and he might have placed, I want to say, but he also comes from Jarrett Jones, who, my coach and him worked together all the time. We used to go out there and train with him. But I just focus on school. Will I try a pro run? I would like to get 2 to 3 more amateur fights. If I win them all in convincing fashion, then yeah, I want to try maybe a pro run. But if I get, just the piss beat out of me, then probably stop. I just want to see how I'll do when I train full time. I haven't done that yet. Either I was working or I was doing odd jobs or I was playing music. That's why this summer, after college is done, before my internship, I would like to fight, because I got a big internship lined up. And so I'm going to do that over the summer. So pro, yeah, probably 1 to 2 fights, depending how I do. If I do good and somehow I get in the UFC, then sure, why not?
Definitely. But take me to where you're training right now. I know you were at MVMMA for a little while. Personal differences, I believe you left there.
Yeah.
Where are you training now? Who are you training with?
I train at a bunch of places. My main gym is Utica Combat Athletics. I just want to clear there too. I'm not going to bring up the whole thing of what happened, but I do not trash talk MVMMA at all. I love everyone that goes there. They're all like Travis Streeter, Beef Strain. He's literally my best friend on this planet. I've known him for years. All the Doolin brothers literally went to high school with my family. So I know them all. I love them all to death. I still like Duff Holmes, the guy that runs it. It's just there was just a difference at one point, and it couldn't be salvaged in time. I still love everyone there, and I still recommend people. If people say, "Where do you go?" I say, "I go to Utica Combat Athletics." But there's also Dojo One in the area, and there's also MVMMA, so you have some choices. But anyway, back to your question.
Definitely.
I'm sorry, I just had to clear the air from the last interview. So basically, the way it worked, I go to UCA for all my MMA training. We're a very grappling-oriented gym. My coach, Mark Giordano, was a monster wrestler in high school. I have a bunch of state champions I train with all the time, people that wrestled for a lot of good D3 and some D1 schools like Oswego or Cortland and Oneonta even. 2 of my teammates wrestle at Cornell. They're for NC Prep, which is kind of like the Cornell JV squad, I guess, if you want to word it that way.
Okay.
And then my coach, Mark Giordano, has his brown belt. I forget under who. I think someone with the bomb squad out towards Ithaca or Syracuse. That I train at Evolution Grappling Academy a lot. I go down there every Sunday for Muay Thai. Tree City Muay Thai is actually Nick Spencer's gym. He runs Muay Thai down there. And then Mike Palladino's, I work jiu-jitsu with him. My main jiu-jitsu place is Oneana Jiu-Jitsu Academy. Shout out to Matt Martindale. We got some good rounds today. It was fun. He's such a good guy. I wish I could like say it to his face without like being weird, but he's such a good guy. I mean, we're such a family-oriented gym. There's like kids running around all the time. Everyone's picking them up. And you're like, what's going on and stuff. It's all fun. And then we all choke each other and then we give hugs after. It's weird, but the place that I probably go to the most is the Den, and that's where my boxing is. I got my coach, William the Flail Wilson, who was light heavyweight champ of the world at one point. I got Derek Brown, who was Lennox Lewis's main sparring partner. He actually challenged for a cruiserweight title 5 or 6 years ago. I think he's like 32-5 as a pro. All my training partners. Sal's a big guy I spar with a bunch. Ruggieri, I think is his last name. He's such a monster, man. You talk about an amateur guy better than me, that's him. So I train at a bunch of places.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you're busy, and I've seen you keeping busy online. And then every time I'm up in Schenectady for the fights, because I'm down on Long Island, I always see you at the fights, whether you're competing or you're just there to watch. You're definitely a fan of the sport.
I love it.
I've also seen you recently with Ben Askren's seminar. You were there. How was that?
It was awesome, and what made it cool is that Ben Askren actually went to college with my wrestling coach.
Oh, okay.
So I got to talk to him a lot, and I said I pulled him aside. I said, what are the odds that you know someone by the name of Rocco Capone? And he's just like, yeah, dude, I know him really well. We talked for like a half hour just about him and like college, and he showed me a couple things. It was fun. He showed really basic stuff because most of the people that went to that seminar were actually for John Danaher because it was a half seminar. I was more interested in Askren because I'm a wrestler. Man, it was so cool. That was about 2-3 months ago now. It was so awesome. Ben Askren's such a great guy. John Danaher was awesome, but I don't know. I just like the wrestling aspect more, and he showed us a lot of really unorthodox jiu-jitsu holds through that he learned through wrestling, which is really cool. So maybe we'll unveil those in the fight.
Yeah, because Ben Askren, they have one of the Askren academies up in Summers, I believe, up in upstate New York. I believe his brother Max runs that one. But I think Ben Askren's a phenomenal teacher. I don't think people realize how well he teaches the sport as well as competing within it. I think he's going to be sooner or later a NCAA college wrestling coach. It's a matter of time.
Yeah, his brother is, I think there's a club, it's called Iowa Style Wrestling. A couple of my teammates are from that area that work with him, actually. He's an awesome guy. Ben will go out there every couple of months. So now whenever I hear about that, I'll go down now. And I think he visits every couple of months or so. So
that's awesome.
So he knows my fan. I don't have his cell phone. I couldn't be like, hey Ben, what's up? But he knows me by name now, which is cool. So
nice. And I see you bussing around. You're getting to check everything out. You're, like we said, you're a fan of the sport. Who do you like to watch when you're watching the UFC, Bellator? Are there specific fighters that you kind of really like to keen on and kind of mold your style after? Is there anyone you really like and want to watch all the time?
Mold my style after? Not really, I guess. I have my own style, but Bas Rutten was a guy that I'll always watch. I love Bas Rutten. I went to 2 of his seminars now, and I'm pretty sure he's sick of me already. He's only got me twice, but I pick his brain every time I see him. But active fighters, I'd have to say when you talk about boxing, and this is one guy that not a lot of people talk about, is Joseph Duffy. I love watching that guy. He hasn't fought in a while. Joseph Duffy's really good. JDS, he's fighting Lewis coming up. I just found out, so that's going to be fun. He has phenomenal boxing. I love watching him. But as a complete guy, Dominic Cruz is probably my favorite guy to watch, which is weird because I don't fight like him. I can move like him. I just don't fight like him. But when you talk about a savage of a human being, when the guy's he's destroyed his ACL 3 times, pulled his groin, broke his arm. Now he has a complete labrum tear. He's going to come back and win the title. I guarantee it. I love watching him.
Yeah, he is a phenomenal fighter. He's definitely always entertaining to watch and definitely has a very unique style when he's in there, the way he moves. So I agree. I like watching Dominic Cruz. It's unfortunate he's just riddled with injuries all the time, but that might just
Yeah.
be a way he trains. He just trains so hard. So
Maybe I'll move
unfortunately,
like him next fight. Surprise everybody. I think people don't want to see my fat ass doing that.
I'll be like, oh, look at this Dominic Cruz guy in here. 205. That'd be awesome. Well, we're talking about this and asking you about what fighters you like and whatnot. What do you do this just for the fun of it, or do you really see yourself getting to that next level? I know we asked if you're gonna go pro, but how far do you really believe you can go in this? A lot of guys, they chirp the hype and then they're 2 fights and they're gone. Is this something you plan on staying around for the long haul?
Like I said, I'd like to do about 2 or 3 more amateur fights. If I promised my family, and this is more of a promise to myself. I haven't been knocked unconscious yet. I knock on wood, Okay, so knock on wood. Tim Kronk dropped me, which to this day still surprises the hell out of me. I still don't know how. It's the first time I've ever been dropped, but it happened. I promise my family if I get stopped like that, I'll quit and I'll coach. I love coaching. I love coaching boxing. I'm okay at coaching wrestling, but boxing is my favorite thing. If I had to say if I'm gonna bring it somewhere, I'm doing it for a hobby right now, but this is my first fight. I'm not treating it as a hobby, I guess. I mean, a lot of my opponents, Andrew Ney was all in. Tim Kronk was for damn sure all in if he got me out of there. Mark Worthington was all in, and God, that fight was horrible. It's just I had pneumonia going into that.
Oh, jeez.
I throw my back out 2 days before, and then on top of it, when I kicked him, he perfectly timed a shot and dropped me. I'm like, God damn it! I was so angry. Like, come on, and that he's really the only fight that I felt that urgency. Like, I gotta knock him out, or this isn't gonna go well. Drew Torrance was all in, and then Yuri Panfarov is all. He'll be in the UFC within 4 or 5 years. He's awesome. Same thing for Tim. I wish those two the best of luck. I wish everyone the best of luck. But if I had to say, if I'm going to bring it anywhere, I want to beat Corey Norman, like badly. I really want to beat him. And I want to beat someone, and I hope I don't sound disrespectful. I lost to the 2 best guys I fought, which drives me nuts. I lost to Tim Kronk and Yuri Panvarov, and those 2 are the number 1 guys in my divisions that I fought at. Tim's number 1 at heavyweight, and then Yuri's number 1 at light heavyweight. And those losses still do bother me. I want to fight someone that's like on their level and just beat their ass. That's what I want to do. And if I can do that, then I'll go pro. If I win a lot, then yeah, I'll keep going. But for now, yeah, what you said is more of a hobby right now, I'd say.
Awesome. And before you were talking about how boxing is your strong background. Now you're wrestling. You've been doing MMA. How much do you really see the similarities between each sport with the angles, the changing the levels,
Yeah.
and everything, the grappling, everything in each sport? There's so many similarities, and you're one of the few guys I believe that have actually done all 3 very competitively. How much similarities do you see this? Because I always try to tell everyone in all 3 of these sports, there's so many links to them. Even BJJ, there's so many things that connect all of them, and I don't think everyone realizes it, and they just focus so hard on one instead of kind of gravitating and sliding into everything else. Tell us your thoughts on this.
So what are the similarities is your question?
Yeah, kind of. I guess like when you're training and stuff, and you hear the coaching pointers from each coach, and the footwork, the changing of the levels, your hip control, your head movement, your eyes, your head. Like there's so many similar body movements. I'm just curious to your thoughts on this.
I'll be honest, wrestling and boxing, for the longest time, I never understood wrestling. But when my coach in college started to explain it's all angles, it's all, you got to move at the right time. You got to pick this side. I'm like, oh, when you put it that way, I started doing a lot better. Last year I didn't do all that great. I'm also at heavyweight in college, and these guys are, they're massive. I think this year I'm 5-7 right now so far. So I'm doing better than I was last year. I went 4-16 last year. It wasn't all that great, but
yeah, you live and learn, right?
Yeah, but with jujitsu, when you hit the mat, I see no similarity. It's its own thing. It's not like wrestling when you're on top and grinding someone out, or you're trying to stand back up. It's completely different. I had a really hard time getting into something like lapel grips or anything like that. It was just weird. It's like I'm still getting used to it. Um, but I just think it's with time I'll be able to see more similarities. I do see some similarities with wrestling every now and again. Um, but for the most part, it's just its own thing. I mean, for the longest time, my biggest fear was, hey, don't touch your back to the mat. You're pinned. And
Mm-hmm.
now when I'm training jujitsu full time now because that's what I was missing. That was like the biggest thing I was missing. I've done 2 tournaments now. I took gold in both no gis, and then I took gold in one gi and silver in the other one, which still pisses me off that I lost, but whatever. But the biggest sports that I see similarities with are more than likely wrestling and boxing, just because of the angles. Muay Thai too ties in with boxing a lot. People think I'm crazy when I get like a trip or something from a Thai clinch, and then I'll go like, "Oh hey," and they're like, "What the hell is he doing?" It's like that's just what you do. So in grappling, as far as wrestling goes, I think has a lot to do with each other. But once you hit the mat, it's just completely different.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, because I'm always like I wrestled in college, and now these guys are all some starting to shy away from wrestling, some are coming back to it. And then you have BJJ, it's always growing. I feel like right now, and then you have boxing, obviously, and I feel like everyone's kind of on one side of the fence, and they're not gonna leap to the other. When I think you can learn so much and take so much from one and apply it to the other, and be successful. So
For
I'm just
sure.
curious to see what someone else's thoughts when and I hear that they've done all three as competitively as you have.
Yeah.
No, Al, you're only like 21, right?
21, turned 21 in August. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a young guy. You got a lot ahead of you. You're not even
Yeah.
done with college yet. You're
Not
definitely
yet.
phenomenal on the mic over there. Do you have you background over there on the mic?
What's that?
Do you got background over there on the mic? Have you been doing podcasts and stuff that we don't know about?
No. So I went to school for audio technology at Schenectady County Community College, which is cool because it's right down the street from the Rivers
Hmm.
Casino. So all my professors and stuff will come. It's fun. Um, so I went for music, audio technology, and acoustic engineering. So when I started to learn how to mix stuff and get good at it, I'm like, I'll buy this mic, I'll sing it. It's like I think this mic was like 40, $50 or something. And it's like it's a good condenser, but I'm like, I'll sing into it and mix it, see how it goes, send it to my professor. So that's my background when it comes to this stuff. As far as videography, I just got like this webcam from Walmart about a year ago. So,
Good stuff. Good
yeah.
stuff. No, last question. I'm gonna let you answer, and then I'll let you get on your way.
Thanks,
Um,
man.
what is one thing about you that nobody knows but you'd like to share with everyone?
Man, that's a good question. I've never been asked that really.
It could be anything, and it doesn't have to be MMA related. It could be anything, anything
Well,
related to your life.
well, everyone still gets surprised when I say I'm a music industry major, and I like to get punched in the face for fun. Which I'm a trombonist. I kind of need my teeth to be in line. But man,
I used to play trombone way back in the day in like sixth grade, and I was horrible at it. Didn't know how to play, and I would
uh,
lip sync at all the concerts.
I'm sure. I'm sure you did fine. What I, oh, one thing that people don't know about me. You ever hear of this game, League of Legends?
No, I haven't.
All right, so it's this computer game, and I make it my life's goal. I'll even tell my girlfriend. Shout out to her, she's awesome. I'll even tell my girlfriend, it's like I need about 2 hours on this game a night, or else I will flip out. And so, League of Legends is like you try and destroy this other team's base, and it's very competitive, and you can pay for money. You can play for money and stuff. I play with my friends at least minimum 2 hours a day. That's how I keep in touch with them online. So I guess if I had to say anyone, I'm also a very competitive gamer.
Awesome. All right, so that's kind of your way of winding down, almost.
Basically, like I put my phone to the side. Someone wants to talk to me, it's like later, leave me alone. Like this, I just had a 17-hour day, I'm done.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing you get back in the cage. It's always nice to run into you whenever I'm up in Schenectady, chat with
Likewise.
you. Become like a friend just from going up there and running into you. But best of luck in this fight against Corey Norman. I almost called him Casey again.
We're just call him Casey over the mic. Piss him off. Why not?
I'm like, hey, Casey. Will will be like, who the hell is Casey? But do you have any sponsors or anyone sponsoring you or any coaches you want to recognize?
So I said this on another interview too. I'm not technically sponsored by them, but New York State Corrections Officers and Police Benevolent Agency. My dad's a corrections officer, and that's really why my life is on such a straight and narrow. I always have that symbol on me somewhere, whether it's on my shorts or shirt, and it's
Awesome.
because I remember asking my dad, would Nyskoba buy tickets to the fight, and they bought $600 worth of tickets.
Oh wow!
And gave it out to like all their people, and they're like, "Oh, it's Mike's son, he's fighting," and they all came, and it was my first fight. I had the logo on my shorts, and they stood up and they're like, "Let's go!" And I recognized some of them from working for my dad. So I have to say thank you to Nyskoba for everything they've done, whether it be buying tickets or making my shorts for me, or sending. I mean, I've gotten letters of good luck from these people. They're awesome. And they're keeping people safe. They keep New York safe. As far as coaches go, I always got to give a shout out to Utica Combat Athletics, Mark Giordano and everyone else there, Coach PJ and a couple other guys up there. My favorite team I've ever really been a part of. My wrestling team. I got to give one shout out. James Bethel is my captain. He's going to nationals again this year. He's taking home that title, and he's been murdering people. So I'm going to give a shout out, and I'll close it out with saying, James Bethel, let's go. Let's win it.
Awesome. Well, best of luck. Alex Marro here on Carroll's Corner MMA podcast, fighting at Cage Wars 40 on February 9th. Be there up in Schenectady, New York, just outside Albany, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
The state capital at the casino. Absolutely beautiful casino.
Brand new.
Yeah, brand new. Only not even. I think it's just above a year old. But go there. Go get some tickets. Go to the fights, and then after, go gamble and drink. And there's always an after party, which is a good time because everyone gets to mingle and get to know each other. Always a great time, though.
Awesome.
So Alex, thanks for joining me. Best of luck, and keep training hard, man.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Best of luck.